Hi, my name is Matt Houlihan. I'm the club director here at Beta Bay Volleyball Club, and this is our virtual parent meeting for the Summer 2021 Team Add-on Day. This will be an overview for all of you guys on what the tryout process is going to look like, and then some of the important information about the summer season. The whole goal of this video is to give you the rundown of what a commitment looks like for Beta Bay in the summer, so that when you walk into tryouts on Sunday, you're well versed on what it means, what the costs are, what the commitment is time-wise, travel, all of those good things, so that if your son is offered a spot on a Beta Bay team, you'll be able to understand what that commitment is and then make that commitment. First, to jump right in, we want to go over the tryout process with all of you guys. The first thing is you're going to show up for the tryout 30 minutes early. That's when check-in will actually open for players. So 3 o'clock at the Limo facility in Redwood City. You're going to enter the gym. There are no parents allowed in the gym. You can walk them up to the check-in table if you've got a young son with you. What you're going to do is you're going to enter that gym. Your son will go through the line. They're going to get a temp scan from one of the temp scanning little robots that we've got set up at the front. They're going to give their name to the tryout check-in person. From there, they're going to check them in and then give them a tryout t-shirt, which on the back of their shirt is going to have a number. And that number is going to correspond to their name. And our coaches will have iPads and phones, and that number then corresponds to all the information that you inputted for tryouts as we go through to form teams. So once you get your son checked inside, parents, you'll have to wait outside. It's just a facility rule just to minimize the moving pieces and the amount of people that are in the building. You're welcome to wait outside in the parking lot, wait in your car, whatever is easiest for you. During the tryout, we're going to group players together by age. And so we separate them out so that coaches from each age group understand and know what they've got in terms of the tryout and what they're looking for their team. And that keeps them all together. The next part is we're going to put them through a 2-hour practice plan. Practice plan is pretty simple. It's designed to let guys show every single skill, all of the things that they know and learn and where they're at. Don't worry if you got a young son and they're inexperienced. Our coaches know and understand how to do these tryouts. We've been doing them for years. And our goal is to make kids super comfortable and make sure it's a fun experience first and foremost. From there, coaches will be watching, evaluating, and just trying to see what players are out there right now and what they're looking for their team. Could be a specific position that they're looking to fill. It could be a completely new team that we're looking to form. That's the slight difference of this summer tryout versus our fall tryout, is that we're adding players onto our currently already formed teams, as well as in some age groups forming entirely new teams based upon demand and the number of kids that are trying out. After we go through the evaluation process, coaches will be making offers to their teams today on site. And so if your son gets an offer, most likely here's what's going to happen. Your coach is going to pull a player to the side from the court, talk to them a little bit, offer them a spot on the team, and then ask if their parent is here so that you guys can communicate together, right? We always want to bring the parents into these conversations and kind of make sure we answer any questions and give a full rundown of what we're looking for and what the position looks like for your son on their team. And so they'll most likely have you have your son go out into the parking lot, go out and find you outside, and then have a conversation outside with you just to make sure we're answering any of those questions. Our goal with this tryout is to have our teams finalized as quickly as possible. No one likes waiting around after a tryout to figure out if they've gotten a spot or not. Just because your son doesn't get an offer on site does not mean that he won't get a call from us later on. It takes time to finalize these teams, and so while we try and be as quick and as efficient as possible, sometimes it's just not possible to hit every single player on site during that time frame. So do expect potentially to get a phone call from Beta Bay for maybe a random 408 or 650 number, and just pick that up if you do receive one, in order for us to continue to formalize our teams and get those rosters firm. Once we do have the rosters finalized, what we will do is send out an email to all participants of the tryout to let them know that the tryout is final and that our rosters have been formed. And then if you haven't gotten a contact from us at that point, that is when the tryout is done, and that we won't have a position for you during this summer season. Now, we do have a number of other options that we have going on, different programs in the summer that I'll talk about at the end of this video. So no worries, there's lots of different ways for kids to stay involved if they don't make a team during this tryout. Okay, the next thing we need to cover is just the COVID prevention methods that we have in place, just to make sure that we are putting together the safest and best possible environment for players, coaches, parents, everyone that is involved. So the first thing is heavy sanitization. I think everyone is very used to the massive jugs of hand sanitizer everywhere. Obviously that's an important piece here. So upon walking in, hand sanitizing. On every court there's hand sanitizer, so anytime we take a break, guys are hand sanitizing, making sure that they're taking care of that. When you enter the building, just like you'll have to do for the actual tryout, you're gonna walk up to the temperature scanner, you're gonna put your head up to it like this. It's gonna scan your temperature and make sure everyone is good there. Making sure everyone understands as well, just the standard stuff of if you're feeling sick, stay home. If you've been in contact with anyone, stay home and let the club know, just so that we're doing a good job of keeping track of contact tracing. We're also putting time buffers between every practice, just to make sure that we're able to reset courts and sanitize properly in between sessions. So basically a team's practice ends, we go through our sanitization process, that team leaves the court and then exits the building, the next team walks on and takes over that court, and everything has been reset and cleaned for them. Of course, masks are mandatory for all of our coaches and players, even while playing. This will be the same at the tournaments this summer, so everyone has to keep their mask on. The only time we take it off is when you need to get a sip of water. You can get off, guys separate, take a drink, and then return back. The other last part that we do at the Limo facility is every 2 months they bring in a industrial fog cleaning machine called OxyFog. We shut down the building. We run the whole building through an OxyFog cleaning routine, which is basically a 12-hour process that takes all of the air out of the building and just disinfects and sanitizes everything. And we get that done every 2 months, just to completely reset and clean the facility. Next part is just understanding our summer commitment. I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest part of this meeting and this video, is just so you guys can understand what it means to be a part of Beta Bay and what comes along with that, both financially, with your time, with travel, all of those things that come into play when you're a part of a team. We want you guys to know what that commitment looks like and to make sure that it's something that you can commit to, because that's an important piece. We want to make sure we've got guys that are committed to their team and committed to this process, because everyone has a better experience when the team is on board and the team is all working towards the same goal, and there's not a lot of different varying degrees of commitment levels. So the first commitment is the finances of it. Club dues for the summer season is $1,275. And here's what that covers. It covers your practice times throughout the entire summer. It covers your coaches' salaries and their travel to and from the tournaments. It covers the tournament entry fees. It covers the insurance, and it covers the equipment that goes along with our teams. What does it not cover? It does not cover your uniforms. So uniforms are separate. They are $250, and then you'll get an order form to pick out your sizes and all those good things that come along with it. It does not include your USA Volleyball membership as well. That's a requirement for our tournaments, is that every athlete is a member of USA Volleyball. That's how we pull guys into the online rosters and lets the national governing body keep track of all of the teams that are participating. And it also does not include, the club dues do not include your travel and hotels to the 2 travel tournaments that will be happening this summer in Irvine and Kansas City. So that's the breakdown on your club dues. These are payable online with your credit card, with your bank, with PayPal. You can also do a 6-month interest-free payment plan through PayPal Credit. And all of that is set up and sent to you in a onboarding email with the links to this stuff once your son does accept a spot on the team. The next one is your practice schedule commitment. So teams are gonna practice 3 to 4 days a week. That means 2 times on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday for 2 hours, and then 1 to 2 weeknight sessions, depending on where we're at in our schedule, if there's a tournament that weekend or not. That you'll have weeknight practice sessions as well. The earliest time slot right now for our weeknight sessions is 5:15 to 7:15, and the later slot is 7:30 to 9:30. So those are the 2 options for our weeknight sessions currently. Of course, schedules are subject to changing based upon what the facility needs to adjust to, but that's what we have currently slated. Our one caveat for this is Beta Bay is a South Bay based club. So we are normally practicing at Harker Blackford campus, West Valley College, Willow Glen High School, Campbell Community Center. So those are the gyms that we typically would be practicing at, but just because of Santa Clara County's restrictions, we've been up in Redwood City since June of 2020. And so if and when Santa Clara County moves back into the yellow tier, we have agreements with gyms to give us space back in South Bay. So once that happens, we will move as many of our practices as possible back down into San Jose, specifically the weeknight sessions, just to alleviate some of the travel time that everyone deals with on those weeknight Bay Area sessions. So we want to make sure that's easier as possible. But for the time being, we want everyone to operate under the assumption that all practices for the summer are going to be at Limo, because that's where we know we have guaranteed gym time, and that's where we know that we will be able to practice regardless of restrictions in Santa Clara County. So operate under that assumption, but do know that if we do get openings, that there is a chance that we'll move some practices back down to the South Bay to make sure we're accommodating the majority of our club that is based in that area. All the teams' practice calendars are also located on our website online. So every single team has a specific Google Calendar, and that calendar stays up to date with all of your practice times and your locations. All you have to do is just click on the session for the day. It'll tell you the location, it'll tell you the time. You can set it up and link it to your calendar, but that's where we keep everything together, that you guys can keep that all organized. So that team calendar is up there with the tournament days, the travel days, all the information that you need for understanding what the practice time commitment looks like. For the tournament schedule, if you're trying out right now and you make a team, there's going to be 2 tournaments that you will attend. The first one is the SoCal Cup Showcase in Irvine, so Southern California. That's on June 11th through 13th. It's a 3-day tournament, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Junior Nationals are in Kansas City. And depending on which age group you're on, it's going to be somewhere between June 29th and July 7th. I'm going to put the schedule somewhere on the screen for you to see. We'll also link it for you so that you can see what those dates look like. All of these tournaments are called stay to play tournaments, which means we as a club have to book hotel rooms through a specific hotel and link that the tournament assigns to us. And so for all of these tournaments, you're going to get in your onboarding email a link to set up and book your rooms for these travel tournaments. It's also just a good way for us to get our whole club in the same place and have some of those team bonding experiences that you don't get to normally have at just practices. So getting to travel with your friends and your teams and then staying together in the same place, traveling to and from the tournament, and spending a lot of time together is a great aspect of club volleyball that we love, and that comes with this hotel portion of things as well. For the travel to these tournaments, we set the travel day for the day before the event begins. So for Irvine, for example, the first day of play is Friday, June 11th. So therefore, our teams will travel down on Thursday, June 10th, to make sure that our guys are, one, in the city and making sure they're there. They're not waiting the morning of and trying to get on a flight or things like that. It just makes it simpler. 2, you get a good night of sleep in the hotel. We're not cramped up in the car or the airplane, and we're able to be there on time for that. In terms of return flights, if you're booking a flight home from Kansas City or from Irvine, we recommend to book your flights after 6 p.m. on the final day of play. So on that Sunday, June 13th for Irvine, if you're booking a flight home, you want to book your flight after 6 p.m. And that just helps us ensure that you don't have a conflict with the final match of the day. You know, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the schedules will be exactly for each team. But for the most part, the final matches of any tournament are scheduled no later than 3 or 4 p.m. So if you book after 6 p.m., that gives you plenty of time to be able to get to the airport and not miss anything. So that's what we recommend for the travel home. And finally, our other options that we've got going on during the summer season, just so guys are aware, is that we've got our summer camps and clinics. We have a lot of programs that run at the same time as our indoor travel teams, as well as after our summer season ends at the beginning of July. We'll have our full slot of summer camps and clinics that will run through July. Registration for that should be opening up next week. Fingers crossed is what we're hoping for once we get our final gym schedules. We'll have beach tournaments that will run. We'll have 3 beach tournaments that run, 1 in May and 2 in June that guys can register, grab a partner for, that we highly recommend. And we have a lot of our guys that do beach. And then we'll have youth clinics that will also be taking place throughout May through June that guys can register for. It's a la carte style. So any session that you are able to attend and want to sign up for, you're able to hop in and register for 1 session at a time. Sessions are run by our coaches and kind of overview fundamentals, as well as dive a little bit deeper into some of the more advanced tactics and strategies that we use with our travel teams. It's a great introduction to guys who are looking for some kind of playing experience as we lead into our next season tryouts in August. So that's the majority of our frequently asked questions that we get. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email as well. We also have a FAQs site on our website. If you go to the b2bvolleyball.com indoor volleyball tab and just scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a full list of FAQs that we get and hopefully answer any questions that we missed. But feel free again to reach out, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday, and thanks so much for being here.